Hey there, friends and enemies, JoPaWrites here again, and today I wanted to go over a thread from Ben Curitan, the principal designer over at Gunfire Games for Remnant 2, and it really goes into the progression and gear systems, which are very, very fascinating for me because I love build crafting and really coming up with unique ideas and playstyles that are going to fit what I want to do and really not what I see from other people. So jumping right in, he does say the biggest addition to Remnant 2 is Archetypes. I did a whole video talking about which ones are right for you. If you want to mix and match, you can run multiple archetypes, one being your primary and then a secondary. And with those, you can really be like a healing slash tank, almost like a paladin build, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of different options. So each archetype has 3 unique cooldown based skills and a unique set of perks as well. How they mix and match that is going to be very fascinating to see. Dual archetyping, players will need to have a prime perk. That's going to be your main archetype. And then your second archetype is not going to have a prime perk active at all time. So that's really what's going to determine which one you kind of have slotted as your main archetype. Archetypes come with the added benefit of easy to understand identifier of co-op. What that means is that when you see a teammate playing a certain archetype, you can adjust your play style a little bit to go alongside and really synergize as well as possible with your teammates. It goes into talking about trinkets, amulets, and rings with the different benefits that they have. So now you're going to have 4 slots for that instead of just 2, which I think is massive for build crafting, because before you'd really want to focus on just like a damage build or a specific build for a certain scenario. Now with 4 different slots, you are going to have just a ton of options to really have like a combination. You can really spec all in on certain things, or if you really want to do like a damage and movement speed type of combination, you can lean into that a lot more than you could have previously, which is cool. Again, the more options you have, the better the build is going to be defined towards your tastes, and I'm really looking forward to that personally. With the added freedom of extra ring slots, players can more comfortably take on 1 and 2 quality of life options instead of loading up on just damage. So that really makes a lot of sense, because I know in the previous game it was like, and a lot of players are like this, you want to see the highest damage numbers on the screen as possible, and so you really lean into that and just throw on your damage rings and then forget about it essentially. So with 4 slots, you can really be a little bit more creative when you're mixing and matching. If you are struggling a bit more, if you need to stay alive, you can do more like healing, health regeneration type, defense, all of that kind of stuff. If you are coasting through content and not really taking a ton of damage, you can then lean into the damage types as well, maybe the movement speed as well. So that's going to be really fascinating to see how that all works out. Relics are a new addition which focus on healing. The Dragon Heart, essentially from Remnant from the Ashes, was the only relic that you had in that game, but now you're going to have additional options. And so different relics will change the way you approach an encounter. Maybe one grants less instant healing, but offers steady stream of healing regeneration over the course of time. So essentially, that's going to be nice. Another one provides healing to nearby allies. You can really, if you're not running a healing class like a medic, or you don't have the handler companion that does heal you, then you can run one of these relics that's really going to lean into healing your team if they're in trouble. And so really, again, this is going to make party composition, building your teams, building your own character, all of that just feel that much more flexible with what you can do. And I'm really excited to see how that all plays out once we get hands-on. Weapon mods from the original game are back. Weapon mods are powerful abilities that are slotted into your standard primary and secondary firearms. Boss and special firearms have their own one-off weapon mods that cannot be swapped. That's pretty standard. Those boss and special firearms are the ones that I'm most looking forward to, because they oftentimes felt unique, and I really want to see how the unique weapons feel. But having a weapon mod on different weapons that you can really customize to make, again, your build feel like your own, you can mix and match, is going to be a nice thing as well, and I love to see it. So weapon mods can be anything from Hotshot, Remnant Classic that infuses your bullets will fire, to crowd control options that give you and your team more freedom and control on the battlefield. Activating weapon mods at the right time can make or break an encounter or boss fight. Yeah, I mean, again, customization is key here, right? In Remnant from the Ashes, you had some nice, solid options, but now that's going way above and beyond what we've ever had before. And I'm really excited about it. I think that's going to provide some massive differences in the way you play the game. And I really want it to feel like my playthrough, that the character that I build is going to be unique to me. And that really seems to be what they're leaning into. Boss and special weapons come with their own preset weapon mods, typically more exotic and themed to that specific weapon. Because of this, they usually have more pronounced strengths and weaknesses. Again, when you're going through your build, you can find one that you're like, okay, this is the weapon that goes perfectly with my build. It synergizes well, and you can lean into that and enhance its strengths and cover up its weaknesses, hopefully. So I'm really excited to see how that will happen. So collect as many of these weapons as you can, because you never know when their special weapon mod may come in handy. Mutators are a brand new feature that really takes your build to the next level. Exciting. Each weapon, primary, secondary, and melee, has a mutator slot. Mutators grant effects similar to armor set bonuses from the original game. Okay, that's pretty cool. They can be leveled by spending precious materials. At max level, they gain a second effect that ties the whole package together. Mutators typically affect the weapon they are slotted into, but since you can have 3 weapons, you can have 3 mutators at a time. Okay. Last but not least, traits. Like in the first game, traits are stat bonuses to increase each time you get a point. So health, stamina, all that kind of good stuff, as well as the archetype trait. While standard traits are increased by speccing in them, with trait points, archetype traits are automatically increased by simply leveling up your archetype. That's nice. So the more you play that archetype, the more you're going to level it, which is really cool. I do like that. Trait points by defeating bosses and fighting tombs of knowledge in the world. As an incentive to play multiple archetypes, leveling each to max will unlock that archetype trait that can be used with any build, even if the build doesn't include the original archetype. Okay, that's crazy. I'm really excited about that a lot. However, if you use an archetype trait on other builds, you have to spend trait points to increase their strength. Keep the original archetype to gain a full 10-point trait for free once the archetype is maxed, but spend some points to regain its power. It's up to you. Remnant 2, the power creating awesome builds is in your hands, etc. So yeah, I mean, this is kind of what the UI is going to look like with your screen for your character. Looks like a lot going on. I'm excited about that. I really am looking forward to traits. Not only being able to use different archetypes with your traits to really mix and match things, but the mutators are something I think might be slept on initially, but will be one of the things that really enhances the gameplay, because again, it's going to provide that level of difference that is necessary as you're looking to make your build your own. And so the fact that they're enhanced by defeating powerful enemies leads me to believe they're going to be really, really good and useful as you make your build. But overall, I'd love to hear from you guys. What are you most excited about with all of this? What are you looking forward to trying out? Which of these different new gameplay mechanics are you going to try out first and really lean into? Is there a build that you already have in mind? All that stuff, I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. We're just a few short weeks away from Remnant 2 dropping. I'm very excited about. I mean, a week really. So I'm super stoked about all of that. I can't wait to get hands on. Finally, I'm really looking forward to it. I'll have more news coverage for you guys. My name is JoPa. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video. All that kind of good stuff helps me out tremendously. Shows you want to see more Remnant 2 content from me going forward. My name is JoPa. I hope you have a good one. I'll catch you all later.